Hi guys, welcome to Dartmoor Archery. I've been asked to make a beginner's video on whip cracking, just some basics, some easy stuff. Let's start with where do I buy my whips from. Indiana Whips and Props, you can find him on Facebook. Alan, he's very easy to deal with and he makes the best whips as far as I'm concerned. I've had mine years and they're perfect. So I recommend Alan, Indiana Whips and Props. They are handmade. He doesn't have them sitting on shelves anywhere, so when you order it he makes it for you, so be patient. They take a little bit of time to come. They don't come the next day or anything like that. He will make it for you. They take time to come. What sort of whip would I recommend? Well, I use the paracord ones because I can use them in the wet. You can't, well you can, but I advise not to use your whips on concrete. Hitting them down, banging them on concrete won't do them any good. Grass, fine. The wet, you can't use leather whips very well, so the paracord are brilliant. This is a little 4-foot one. It's like a little snake whip, but it has got a steel bar in it, and I prefer that to the snake whip. So the smaller the whip, the faster it is. The recommended size I recommend starting with is the 5-foot. So this is the 4-foot. It's very fast, quick, nice little combat whip, very effective little whip, and you can roll it up very small, so I do like them. It's a lot of fun, but it's very quick, it's very fast, and it won't crack as loud as the 5-foot. And this is a 6-foot, so the 6-foot will be slower. This is the mid-range one. This will be slower but will crack louder. It's a loud crack. So either of the 6-foot or the 5-foot you'll get a good loud crack out of, and you probably only need one whip if you only want to buy one. I recommend for anyone beginning, 5-foot would be the better length. It's just easier to work with, I feel. And you can put them down in the wet. This one I wouldn't leave around in the wet because it's got a wooden handle, but occasionally I've made the odd mistake, especially with this one, because in the autumn, if I'm out with the dogs or anything, I can't use the whip at the moment because of the dogs, because I've got a new puppy and she just doesn't like it. You crack the whip, she's gone, and she's fast, so I'm not chasing her. But my other dogs are good with it. They're good with everything. She's good with archery, catapults, air rifles, crossbows. Get the whip out and she's gone. So we'll have to work on that. So I wouldn't leave, I've left this one out so many times, found it the next day, it's perfect. And that's Alan, Indiana Whips and Props on Facebook. This one's the Archer, he calls it the Archer. I really like this whip. I find this a very nice one to work with and use. Like I say, I haven't used one now for, how long I had that pup? 8 weeks. I haven't used a whip for more than 8 weeks now. So that's the size I recommend, 5-foot. And you can also get them with a completely woven handle like this. And this can be left out in the wet. If you forget, it's got steel in there, by the way, so it's got a hell of a belt to it. So it is a kosh, it is a nunchuck, it's a lot of things. That's the blunt end, but I've never had to use the blunt end, to be honest. So I just play with the sharp end. Basic things like holding your whip. I hold down on the knot here. I'm sure it has another name, but I'm just going to call it the knot. So that's where I'll hold. I won't hold up here on the handle. I don't feel I have so much control. Plus this one's quite thin in comparison to those, but the knot's always the same. So I always hold here. A little bit on the handle, but mostly on the knot. That's how I hold my whip. And loose. I'm not holding that tight, because what you want to avoid is being stiff. That's what beginners tend to do, is they stiffen up, they get the wrong angle, and they try far too hard. Most of the effort in the whip is bringing it up. There's less effort in actually creating the crack. So we're going to look at that in a minute, and some angles. What I'm working with a lot is the coil. On the basic sort of beginner's cracks that I recommend starting, but I don't recommend snatch cracking, because the whip will head back towards you, but I can snatch crack and direct it off to another crack. So that comes with a bit of time. Before, I should have started really with safety. Because I do a lot of safety here. I do recommend a glove on the whipping hand, a pair of safety glasses on. It's up to you what you want to wear. Glass, maybe not. Plastic would be better. And a hat if you don't want to catch your ears. I've pretty much hit my ears, my face, my eyes. So when I was learning, yeah, I have busted my little finger a couple of times. Because when you get knots in your cracker, you catch yourself with a knot, whoosh, it hurts. So, and they do bite. So I do recommend safety gear, guys. When you're beginning, you are safer if you've got the glove on, because you won't whack your hand up if you make a mistake. Definitely eye protection, and I have caught my ears, they're pretty big, and I wrapped it right around my ear once, and yeah, that really felt that. What you're working with is a coil, and you're learning how much to put in, and trying to feel, be sensitive with it, and not be the stiff part of the whip. Let the handle be the stiff part of the whip, not you. When I bring the coil up, I don't want it to come on the inside of the whip handle at all, because it's going to come to me. Every time it will come to me. I don't want that. Every time I bring it up, I'm going to bring it on the outside of the handle. It's going to come onto that side of the handle. And what I'm doing is creating a loop. It's going to come over, come out and crack. Come over, come out and crack. Huh. There. And what creates the crack, that's the full, that's the cracker on the end. And I do recommend keeping an eye on these, that you don't get too many knots in them. I've just changed this one because I had knots in this part and they don't rock so well then. So I put a new one on, and Alan will send you some new ones with your whip. And you need to probably watch it. It's very easy to put them on, but I've seen people try and just tie a knot in it. Someone came out to me the other week, she said, my whip's not working very well. I looked at it, I was like, well, it won't. It will just keep coming off. So it goes through a hole in there, but I'm sure there's a video on that. So what you're learning to do is take it to the right angle. So what I've noticed when I'm teaching people, what most people will do is they'll try really hard, they'll throw the whip up and they'll stop it early. So the whip will be at this kind of angle, and then they'll try and throw it down. This doesn't really work for a crack. You might get a little knock out of it, a little bit of a bang out of it, but it doesn't work as well, especially not when you're learning. You want to allow the whip to go further back on its angle, back here. Can you see that? So that the whip actually comes behind. So that I create a really nice soft roll, watch. And that's it. And I'm not making a lot of effort to crack the whip at all. I don't need... When we first started, me and my son used to get tired, our shoulders would get tired, and we laughed about it after a while of learning, because you don't need to get tired using one of these. You're putting if you're getting tired, you're putting way too much effort into it. Most of the effort is on the lift, and the other part is just that you're directing it back, and then at the end I use my wrist to crack it. So I can just do it slow, and that's the cattleman's crack. Over and out, and I can go up, I can go out, I can go down, and it's accurate. It's a nice accurate crack. That's the cattleman's. Start slow and work on it. And like I say, doing this on concrete, if you're doing that on concrete, you will soon destroy the fall. This is not so easily replaceable. You possibly have to send it back to get that. And it's not Alan's fault. That would be you not listening to what I'm saying. Don't use them on concrete, guys. It won't do them any good. So again, just nice and gentle. I'm going to just show you that one again. That's just the simple one. And other things to learn are to be loose with the whip and how to make it go backwards and forwards. This is just very simple. But until you can do that quite nicely and smooth, and it can be done slow, it doesn't have to be done hard and fast, that gives you more control. And then on this side of the body as well, so that I'm learning to do it here and there, and then here, forward and back like fly fishing. Learn those nice basic movements slowly. Do it slow. Snatch cracking, where you're throwing the whip out, the easiest one to learn if you can do it. If you do this and you go like that, it's going to come back towards you somehow. So I always manage to bring it out, roll it and back. Because I know the direction it's going to go in, because I send it there. but I don't necessarily recommend that yet. Start with the very simple Cattleman's, a little bit of control over the whip. And then the one, if you want to learn the one above your head, start with the whip out. I'll just get further back and then just bring it round slow and let it crack. I'm bringing up, around, and then my arm is coming back, and then the crack comes off the whip, always off the wrist. It'll always be off the wrist movement. So it's, I just bring it round, up, over, create the roll, let it go out. Nice and slow again. And then you can learn to bring it back. And I'm doing that by going one and then bringing it back, crack. So again, it's that wrist movement. It's crack, 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 crack. That's how I'm doing that one. Another one I don't like very much, I don't use very much, let's hope I can crack it successfully, it might take a couple of goes, is the coachman's crack. Now the coachman's crack, if I get it right, should crack here by my ear. And it will deafen you a bit. The coachman didn't crack out at the horses, because if you hit one of the horses in harness, you could cause yourself a hell of an accident on a carriage or a coach or something. So they created the crack that come down by the side of them. And how they do that is the whip, when I bring the whip up, it rolls round more into a loop. And I snatch the loop down. That's it, right there. Always a nice noise. So that's cracking there. Maybe don't start with that one, but it is a basic crack. So if you just practice them, practice the rolling and different heights. So you have control of where you're putting the whip. Practice the other side of the body. So again, all I would be doing is taking the whip here and there, here, and and again, good advice. I often don't bother. I just use the. It's got a knot in it. You see. You see that, and that will hinder it. Not trying to excuse that I do some terrible cracking, but because it's a new cracker, they will knot up quite easy. So I'll show you that again. All I'm gonna, the whip's out. So always, it's good to start with your whip out in front of you like that. Bring it over. Ha. So learn to use both sides of the body and bring the whip over. So again here, or here. That's some basic stuff. I will do some more films. I was asked for this. We've just finished archery, me and my daughter, so I thought, take 5 minutes, put the puppy away for a minute because she's been nuts today, and do a little bit of it. Do a little film for you. Hopefully that's helped. If you need to ask me any questions, please do. Remember your safety kit, Indiana whips and props. Have a nice day, everyone. Thanks for watching.